Yeah, so we expanded our hours over the time, over those 5 years to, we were doing lunch before COVID hit. We were doing a lot more catering. We were just getting more revenue streams coming in, and every incremental move that we would make, would be, it wouldn't be exponential growth that day, but Friday lunches started off being okay. And then you start building, awareness that we are now open on Fridays, because we had built this following of people that knew at 4:30 on Tuesday through Sundays, you have to line up to go to Chomp to get in, right? So we reduced and as cool as it is to say that there's a line or that you can't get into a restaurant, it always drove us a little crazy because we wanted
money right there that's not coming through. Yeah.
So I'd be standing out at the host stand, and you see a car pull in. We have like a 16 spot parking lot. They wouldn't have a spot. They'd drive out, and we had another parking lot that was next to us where they could potentially go. We had a sign that says, additional parking next door, and you just see them keep driving, and they wouldn't come back. And a party of 4, it's $100, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to limit the barriers that guests were facing to dine with us. So opening up for lunch and dinner on the weekends was a no-brainer. But we didn't always have the right staff. We didn't always have enough staff.
Yeah. Real quick, what were your hours before they changed? Like, I just want to get a picture.
4:30 to 9, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and then 4:30 to 10 on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
And that was more in Warren. The streets roll up pretty early. There's not much of a nightlife, even though there is a good amount of restaurants now. Everybody still turns in, 9:30, or they'll go to like an Irish pub. Or
so you're only open for dinner, basically, up to this point. And your plan was to slowly start, turning the nozzle on the gauge to increase the hours just for Friday. And then why that approach of just slowly but surely increasing the hours? Why not just go, we're open for lunch?
Because you can't it's hard to pull it back. Once you're open 7 days a week, 2 services a day, I think that you start to confuse people. If say you don't do your research and you're open up on Mondays and you're overstaffed, you can either pull back your hours or pull back your staff, but then, you're just not setting yourself up to be successful. I think that if you slowly open up, you see where the market is, and then you kind of work at it from the other angle where you are not necessarily reactive to like the demand, but you're kind of you're controlling the demand a little bit, because you're only open for Friday, Saturday, Sunday lunch. So it's like, okay, let's see how that goes. If it's crazy on Fridays, which is still a weekday, people are still working, then maybe a Thursday through Sunday, schedule is warranted. But, we were doing a lot of takeout on Fridays. There wasn't a lot of dine-in traffic where we were specifically in Warren. So it never really warranted going to expanding our hours. When you expand your hours, you're expanding your labor, expanding your food costs, expanding
justify it.
Everything. Yeah. So we always try to run lean, now more than ever. So we just took that approach to the hours too. It's like, okay, we're going to open up for this. If people want to come, we'll see. Unfortunately, they did.
What benchmarks were you using? What were your thresholds, the numbers? Because I know you're an analytics guy. I know you're big into numbers. So what number did you need to hit to justify? What percentages were you looking at, or anything along those lines, to know that, okay, we're good?
So we look at a few different things. We were looking, basically the light bulb went off when we were getting our guys into the kitchen at noon regardless. So they're coming at noon to prep for the night. My chef Tanner and I were looking at like, all right, if we want to open up for lunch, how could this coexist? How could we be doing what we're doing already at noon, but get in a couple other people on the line that are just devoted to cooking for the service out in the dining room? And so we looked at it and we're like, all right, we need 1.5 people. And we're like, all right, 1.5 people at, $13 an hour. If we can do what we're projecting to do, and we were thinking like, if we can do, $1,000 for lunch, we'd be good. More than good. We'd be ecstatic. for one extra person for an extra $60, $70 for that lunch period that we add to our labor costs on that Friday or Saturday or Sunday, it's more than justifiable, but how do you do all the other things? How do you get prepped for the busy night ahead? How do we schedule so that, we're as efficient as we can be in the kitchen, because we don't have a lot of space. We don't have a lot of tabletops to be making, to be pickling a bunch of cucumbers, or to be, breaking down chicken or portioning whatever we're portioning. So we needed to be strategic in that, and we figured it out. And, we blew past the projections of what was acceptable for us.
How long did it take you to do $1,000 on a Friday for lunch?
Friday lunch. Well, Friday lunch isn't a good sample size. Saturday lunch, about an hour and a half, at the most.
How long were you hitting that $1,000 benchmark from like day one when you decided to go open for lunch, or did it take some time to
No, we weren't. Fridays were a bit of a struggle at first, to be completely honest. The awareness, we have a great social media following. We were doing 4 walls marketing, the traditional stuff, table tents, message on the check, email blasts, whatever, everything that was free.
Yeah, that's remind me to come back to that, because I think that's one thing you guys do really well is your marketing. But I want you to finish your thought. Keep going.
Thank you. And it kind of proved to us the theory that we had about weekday traffic in Warren, where there isn't a lot of people, or there are not a lot of people that are looking to dine out on a Friday. Now, there were days where we would do well, cover costs, be fine, and then have an incredible Friday night service. And so, if you look at the whole day, it was great, right? It's an extra, $600, $1,000, whatever it may be, that we didn't otherwise have for a very small amount of other investment than what we would normally have with labor costs. But, then we would have great Fridays. We would have Fridays just out of the blue, which is kind of funny because our business over 7 years has become very predictable. Looking at our analytics, looking at reports from year over year, from even week over week or month to month, they were super consistent. And Friday lunch, for whatever reason, was such a variable, even up until, we shut down the dining room at the end of March. Awareness was growing. We would have a lot of takeout. A lot of people found out, they only have a half an hour lunch break, or they might have a 45-minute lunch break, so they can't go, from where their job is to us in Warren and get back in time if they ate with us. So we started doing a lot of takeout, which is great because, it's money coming in.
So,
but it wasn't.
Let's tap the brakes right here, because I just want to hover over and just summarize the big takeaway that I got from that tear you went on. You don't have to go full steam ahead from day one. You don't have to it's so much better just to start where you can and slowly scale into things, and that compounding effect, right? Just do a little bit more, just do a little bit more. And before you know it, you're open, lunch and dinner every day. You have more than enough capital and people to justify, you're not just scrambling, just trying to put a pulse into your business. You're finding the right person, right? And that's what happens when you slowly scale over time. Just keep your liabilities as low as possible, and just slowly make those little tweaks over time. You'll get there. It's not a race. Just use cash flow and people, right, to determine that growth. And that's exactly what you did. I love it. If you enjoyed this video, please help us out. You can do it by liking, sharing, subscribing, and hitting that bell icon. It really helps out. And don't forget, there's a complete archive of every episode with show notes at restaurantunstoppable.com.